A Nova Scotia woman has chosen a medically assisted death, but is ending her life earlier than she'd like. Audrey Parker has stage 4 breast cancer that has spread to her bones and her brain. She's worried if she loses her mental capacity, doctors will deny her request. Audrey Parker is joining us this morning from Halifax. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
Just to set up your story, Audrey, for the rest of the country, in Canada's medically assisted dying legislation, someone must be medically or mentally competent and able to consent, not only when they request this, but also right before the procedure. How would you like to see this legislation change?
Well, when I went through the application process for medical assistance in dying, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I don't want to suffer more than I already have, and I want to take control in all the areas that I can. I feel that when I went through that application process, I created a new medical directive for myself. My other medical directive stands, the medical directive that has my friend as my next of kin who can speak for me, but my medical assistance in dying directive does not stand. And I just don't think it's fair. I think that our lawmakers, I applaud them for making medical assistance in dying legal in Canada, but I feel that they didn't have the courage to go all the way and make it a good and fair law.
Legislators would argue back that those safeguards were put in place to safeguard against potential abuses. What's your response?
My response is I am the norm, and those situations are the exception to the norm. I think that we have to have, if it's going to be legal, when someone is of sound mind and they apply for it, that should stand. And I totally agree with them. There should be measures in place to safeguard people, pushing relatives into having medical assistance in dying so they can get an inheritance. I totally agree. But I think those situations are the exception. And someone like myself or someone who's found out they have, early onset Alzheimer's and know that they're going to become incapacitated or mentally incapacitated, I think that it should be a law that suits everyone, and then there's measures in place to take care of the exceptions to the rule.
Audrey, medically assisted dying in Canada came into effect just more than 2 years ago, around the time that you were diagnosed. Why did you decide this was the right choice for you?
Well, it's interesting. I really, I never dreamt that I would become an advocate at the end of my life or that I would be speaking out as I am. But because I am dying at 57 years old, I really want to make my life and my death feel like it's all worth it. And, helping those that come after me has become a passion of mine now. I just believe that by my taking control of everything I could, it just helped me cope in my situation. I've had the most beautiful end-of-life experience. The folks in my city have treated me so well, and everywhere I go, I'm treated with great respect. And it's just been a wonderful experience. And I would hope that I've shown people that if you do get a terminal diagnosis, you don't have to curl up in a ball and go, lie somewhere until you pass away. I've shown that you can live a really good life, pack in as much joy as you can. And part of that is taking control of your death. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to suffer anymore. I've suffered terribly throughout this experience. That aside, everything else has been glorious.
Audrey, you are planning your death for November the 1st, a few weeks from now. If our laws were different, what would you be doing differently?
I think I would have tried to make it past Christmas time. I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday of the year. I would have really tried to hang on till after Christmas. But I have cancer in the lining of my brain. I'm sitting here in front of you with a very numb left side of my face. I look totally normal. I don't even look like I'm dying, really. But the inside of me feels very, very badly, I can tell you. So I'm just making the best of all my days until that day comes. And I'm a planner, and I have a beautiful death plan for myself.
Audrey, November 1st is very close. You and I may not have a chance to speak again before then, but I want to thank you for choosing to tell your story here on Your Morning.
Well, thank you, and I would ask all of my fellow Canadians to reach out to your MPs and tell them that we need to find the courage to change this law, make it for everyone, but put good measures in place to protect those exceptions to the rule.